Imagine stumbling upon a dusty, leather-bound journal tucked away in an old New England attic. You open it, and the spidery ink script tells a story not found in any history book. This is the tale of the supposed last witch of Salem, a story I'm about to share with you. The journal belonged to a woman named Alara, and her first entry is dated months after the infamous 1692 trials. She wasn't one of the accused, but a quiet observer, a healer who used herbs and ancient knowledge passed down through her family. She lived on the outskirts of town, her small cottage surrounded by gardens, brimming with plants most people couldn't name. Alara writes about the chilling atmosphere in Salem. Fear was a sickness, she says, spreading faster than any plague. Neighbors turned on neighbors, and any deviation from the norm, like a woman who could read or one who preferred solitude, was seen as a sign of witchcraft. She describes hiding her own books, her remedies, her very essence, just to survive. Her entries are filled with a deep sadness. She talks about Bridget Bishop, the first person executed. Alara knew her not as a witch, but as a vibrant, outspoken woman who owned a tavern and wore a red bodice, an act of defiance in a world of gray and black. Alara believed Bridget's real crime was being too independent. She secretly left a bundle of healing herbs on Bridget's doorstep the night before her arrest, a silent prayer that went unanswered. As the trials raged on, Alara's journal became her only confidant. She details how the accusations grew more and more absurd. She writes about the afflicted girls, describing their fits and screams not as demonic possession, but as a terrifying performance. She wonders if they were caught in a lie they couldn't escape, or if they truly believed their own hysteria. She felt a strange mix of pity and terror for them. The most fascinating part of the journal is how Alara used her magic. It wasn't about casting spells or communing with dark forces. It was about nature. She writes about using willow bark to ease a fever, a recipe she learned from her grandmother. She describes how she'd talk to her plants, believing that intention and care were the most powerful ingredients in any remedy. To her, this was science and spirit intertwined, but to the world outside, it would have been a death sentence. In one heart-wrenching entry, she recounts a close call. A young boy from the village had a severe gash, and his mother, desperate, came to Alara in the dead of night. Alara cleaned the wound and used a poultice of yarrow to stop the bleeding and prevent infection. The boy recovered quickly. But instead of gratitude, the mother spread whispers that Alara had used witchcraft to heal him. For weeks, Alara lived in constant fear, barely leaving her cottage. She survived only because the hysteria began to die down, and the town started to grapple with the terrible weight of its actions. Her final entry is dated years later. The Salem trials were a dark memory, but the scars remained. Alara writes that she is an old woman now. She never married, never had children. Her craft, as she called her, knowledge of nature, would die with her. She wasn't a witch in the way the fanatics imagined. She was simply a woman of knowledge in a time of ignorance. She ends the journal with a simple, powerful line. May the world one day choose wisdom over fear. May the arbs grow freely. And with that, the story of Salem's last, which comes to a close. Thanks for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as captivating as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more hidden histories. See you next time. Have you ever held something so old, it feels like it has a life of its own? I found this amulet at a dusty antique shop, tucked away in a corner. Nobody had probably looked in for years. The shopkeeper, a man with eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 stories, told me it was just a piece of old jewelry. But I knew, from the moment my fingers brushed against its cool, metallic surface, that it was something more. It wasn't made of gold or silver, but a dark, almost black metal I'd never seen before, with a single, deep blue stone set in the center that seemed to absorb the light around it. That first night, I left it on my bedside table. As the city outside quieted down and my room filled with shadows, I heard it. A soft whisper, like the rustling of dry leaves. I sat up, heart pounding, scanning the room. Nothing. I thought I was just tired, maybe dreaming. But the next night, it happened again. This time, the whisper was clearer, forming words in a language I didn't recognize. Yet somehow, I understood its meaning. It spoke of forgotten places, of starlit skies over ancient deserts, and of a sorrow as deep as the ocean. I started wearing the amulet. During the day, it was just a unique, beautiful piece of jewelry. It was silent, cold against my skin. But as soon as dusk fell, the whispers would begin. They were never scary, but they were filled with a profound sense of longing and memory. It was as if the amulet held the soul of someone who had lived a long, long time ago. The whispers would tell me stories, not grand tales of kings and battles, but small, intimate moments. The taste of a first ripe fruit in spring, the feeling of a cool breeze on a hot summer night, the quiet joy of watching a child sleep. I became obsessed. Who did this amulet belong to? What life did they live? I spent weeks in the library, poring over books on ancient symbols and forgotten cultures. The markings on the amulet were unlike anything I could find. It was as if its history had been completely erased from the world, existing only within the whispers that filled my nights. The voice never asked for anything, it only shared. It felt like I was the keeper of a secret history, the sole audience for a life that had otherwise vanished without a trace. One evening, I decided to try and communicate back. I held the amulet tightly as darkness gathered, and when the whispers began, I spoke to it. I told it my name. For the first time, the whispers paused. A profound silence filled the room, a silence so heavy it felt like a presence in itself. Then a single clear word echoed not in my ears, but in my mind. Finally, the voice changed. It was no longer just sharing memories. It was talking to me. It told me it had been waiting, trapped within the metal and stone for centuries, waiting for someone who would listen not just with their ears, but with their heart. It turns out, the amulet doesn't just hold memories. It holds a consciousness, a lonely spirit that has watched the world change from the confines of its metallic prison. We talk every night now. I tell it about my world, about cars and computers and the vast, interconnected web of humanity. And it tells me about a world lit only by fire and stars, a world where magic was as real as the air you breathe. It's a strange and wonderful friendship, born from a chance discovery in a dusty old shop. I'm no longer just the keeper of its memories. I'm its connection to the now. And sometimes, when the world feels a little too loud and a little too fast, I hold the amulet and I listen. And I remember that even in the deepest darkness, you can find a voice, a story, a friend. Thanks for listening to mine. If you enjoy tales of the strange and unexplained, be sure to follow for more. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever felt that surge of energy, that feeling of a clean slate that comes with the new moon? It's not just your imagination. The new moon is a powerful time for setting intentions, planting seeds for the future, and manifesting your deepest desires. It's like the universe hands you a blank page and says, "What's next for you?" So today, we're going to dive deep into a beautiful and simple new moon ritual that you can perform to harness this incredible energy and start creating the life you truly want. Don't worry, you don't need any fancy tools or years of experience. All you need is an open heart, a clear intention, and a little bit of quiet time for yourself. First things first, let's talk about why the new moon is so special. In astrology and many spiritual traditions, the new moon marks the beginning of a new lunar cycle. It's when the moon is dark in the sky, representing a moment of quiet potential. A fertile void, just waiting for you to plant your seeds of intention. Think of it as a cosmic reset button. It's the perfect time to let go of what's no longer serving you from the past cycle, and to get crystal clear on what you want to call into your life in the weeks ahead. This isn't about magic spells. It's about psychology. It's about aligning your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your actions with a single, powerful goal. So, how do we do this ritual? The first step is to create a sacred space. This doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Find a quiet corner in your home where you won't be disturbed for about 20 to 30 minutes. You can dim the lights, light a candle, maybe one with a calming scent, like lavender or sandalwood, or even burn some incense or sage to clear the energy. The goal is to create an atmosphere that feels special and calming to you. It signals to your brain that it is time to switch off the noise of the outside world and tune into your inner self. You can even put on some soft ambient music if that helps you relax. Make it your own personal sanctuary. Once your space is ready, it's time for the most important part: setting your intentions. Grab a journal and a pen. Take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Now, I want you to think about what you truly want to manifest in the coming month. Be specific. Instead of just writing, "I want more money," try something like, "I am open to receiving new and unexpected opportunities for financial abundance." Instead of, "I want to be happy," write about what happiness looks like for you. Maybe it's, "I will make time for activities that bring me joy and connect with my loved ones." Write your intentions in the present tense, as if they are already happening. For example, "I am confidently pursuing my creative projects." This language is powerful and sends a clear message to the universe and to your own subconscious. Write down anywhere from 1 to 10 intentions. Don't overwhelm yourself. Focus on what feels most important to you right now. After you've written them down, read them aloud. Feel the words. Believe in them. Really embody the feeling of having already achieved these goals. How does it feel to be financially abundant? How does it feel to be in that loving relationship? Let that positive emotion fill you up. This is the energy that fuels your manifestation. Once you've read them, you can fold up the paper and place it somewhere special, like on an altar, under your pillow, or in a dedicated manifestation box. You're planting the seed. Now, the ritual doesn't end here. The final, crucial step is to take inspired action. The universe meets you halfway. Your intentions are the map, but you still have to drive the car. In the days and weeks following the new moon, pay attention to signs, synchronicities, and opportunities that align with your intentions. If you set an intention to find a new job, start updating your resume and networking. If you wanted to improve your health, research a new workout or a healthy recipe. Your ritual has aligned your energy. Now your actions must follow suit. Trust your intuition. It will guide you toward the steps you need to take. And that's it. A simple yet incredibly powerful new moon ritual to set your intentions and co-create your reality. Remember to be patient and trust the process. Manifestation is a marathon, not a sprint. This ritual is a beautiful practice of self-love and a declaration to the universe that you are ready for amazing things. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this inspires you to connect with the magic of the new moon. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more content on spirituality and personal growth. I'd love to hear about your own new moon rituals in the comments below. Until next time, take care. Imagine living your entire life within the confines of your own home, never stepping past the front gate. For the Lyko family, this wasn't a choice. It was their reality for over 40 years. This is the incredible true story of a family lost in time, hidden deep within the Siberian taiga. In 1978, a group of Soviet geologists flying over a remote, uninhabited part of Siberia spotted something unbelievable: a small tilled garden plot miles from any known settlement. Intrigued, they landed to investigate. What they found was a scene straight out of the 18th century. A primitive hut, tools made from wood and bone, and a family of 6, clothed in homespun hemp fabric. This was the Lykov family. The patriarch, Karp Lykov, was an old believer, part of a fundamentalist Russian Orthodox sect that had faced persecution for centuries. Fearing for their lives and their faith under the Soviet regime, Karp and his wife, Aklina, fled into the wilderness in 1936 with their 2 young children. They ventured deeper and deeper into the taiga, eventually settling in a spot so remote that they vanished from the world entirely. 2 more children were born in this isolation. For over 4 decades, they survived against all odds. They foraged for berries and mushrooms, hunted without guns or bows, and cultivated a small patch of potatoes. Their diet was meager, often just potato patties mixed with ground rye and hemp seeds. When their mother, Akalina, starved to death in 1961 to give her children what little food they had, Karp and the children were left to fend for themselves. They had no concept of the modern world. They didn't know about World War II, men landing on the moon, or the existence of plastic. The geologists' arrival was like a visit from another planet. The younger children, Dmitri and Agafia, had never seen another human being outside their family. Their language was archaic, a blend of Old Russian and words they had invented themselves. At first, the Lykovs were wary of the geologists, refusing anything modern, but slowly, a cautious friendship formed. The geologists brought them simple gifts: salt, which was a mind-blowing luxury for them, knives, and other basic tools. Yet, the family remained steadfast in their faith, rejecting most modern conveniences. Tragically, contact with the outside world brought unforeseen consequences. In 1981, just 3 years after being discovered, 3 of the 4 children fell ill and passed away. Having been isolated for so long, their immune systems had no defense against common viruses. Only Karp and his youngest daughter, Agafia, remained. Karp Lykov passed away in his sleep in 1988, 26 years to the day after his wife. Agafia, the last surviving member, was left completely alone. Despite numerous offers to move to a village, she chose to stay in the wilderness home where she was born. For decades, she lived as her family always had, a solitary figure in the vast Siberian forest. Today, Agafia is in her late 70s. The Russian government and volunteers have helped build her a new, sturdier cabin near her old home, and people occasionally bring her supplies. But she remains a symbol of incredible resilience and a link to a forgotten way of life. Her story is a powerful and heartbreaking reminder of the human capacity to survive and the deep, enduring power of faith and family. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more incredible true stories. In the quiet cobblestone streets of a forgotten European town lived an old woman named Alara. She was a fixture, as much a part of the town as the ancient clock tower or the weeping willow by the river. But Alara was different. She had a secret, one she guarded more closely than any treasure. Alara cast no reflection. She lived in a small, cozy cottage, filled with books, herbs, and the smell of freshly baked bread. But you would find no mirrors on her walls, No polished silver, not even a still pot of water left uncovered. For her, reflective surfaces were windows into a void she could never see herself in. The townsfolk, for the most part, were kind. They whispered about her peculiarity, of course, some said. She was a fey creature, others a ghost tethered to the living world. The children were the most curious. They tried to catch her reflection in puddles after a rainstorm or in the shop windows she passed. But there was never anything there, just the world behind her, as if she were made of clear glass. One day, a traveling artist named Leo arrived in town. He was known for his portraits, which were said to capture not just the likeness of a person, but their very soul. He heard the stories of the woman without a reflection and was instantly intrigued. He sought out Alara, finding her tending to her garden, her hands covered in soil. Leo asked if he could paint her portrait. Alara, who had refused everyone else, looked into his earnest eyes and, for a reason she couldn't explain, agreed. She had one condition. He must not use a mirror to help with his painting, as many artists did. He must paint only what he saw. Leo smiled and agreed, his curiosity growing. They spent days together. Leo would sketch and paint, while Alara told him stories of her life. She spoke of a great sorrow in her youth, a lost love, a moment so painful she wished she could disappear. It was after that day, she explained, that her reflection vanished. It was as if the world agreed that the woman she once was had ceased to exist. Leo listened, not with pity, but with deep empathy. He didn't see a strange, magical being. He saw a woman who had carried a heavy burden for so long that she had become invisible to herself. As he painted, he didn't just capture her wrinkled skin or her kind, weary eyes. He painted the stories she told, the strength in her hands, the faint ghost of a smile on her lips. Finally, the day came when the portrait was finished. Leo unveiled it in the town square. The crowd gasped. On the canvas was Alara, but she was not alone. Behind her, faint and ethereal, was the image of her younger self, smiling and vibrant. And in the painted Alara's eyes, there was a spark, a flicker of light, a reflection. Alara stared at the painting, her hands flying to her mouth. Tears streamed down her face. For the first time in decades, she was seeing herself, not in a mirror, but through the eyes of someone who took the time to truly see her, sorrow and all. That afternoon, as Alara walked home, a child holding a small, silver locket ran up to her. He opened it, and for the first time, a tiny, shimmering image of an old woman with tear-filled, joyful eyes looked back from the polished surface. Her reflection had returned. It wasn't magic that brought it back, but something far more powerful, being seen, understood, and accepted. Alara learned that sometimes a reflection isn't found in a mirror, but in the heart of another. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to be seen.